What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPaPa, and it has been so hard for me not to do a video on Stellar Crown because I am really excited about this set. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I think this is going to be the best set of the Scarlet and Violet era. Matter of fact, I will tell you straight up, I don't think it's going to be the best set of the Scarlet and Violet era. I think it's going to be a very good set. I think it has some awesome cards in it, and that's really what I'm excited about. There's some cards in here that I think are really cool. I think the artwork is great, and I'm excited about it. Now, one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to compare it to Twilight Masquerade further on in this video because I think these sets are actually more similar than a lot of us think. And when I'm sitting here trying to consider, hey, what's going to be better, Twilight Masquerade or Stellar Crown, it's going to be fascinating to compare them to because Twilight Masquerade caught me off guard. I thought it was going to be a good set. I certainly didn't think it was going to be a set that popped off with a $250 chase card. Booster box cases are selling online right now for $700. I did not think that was going to happen for Twilight Masquerade. So one of the things I'm doing with Stellar Crown is I'm taking my normal position in the Elite Trainer boxes, right? Every single new set that comes out, I buy 2 cases of the Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes as a buy and hold because I think that these are going to be the rarest sealed products for all of these Scarlet and Violet era sets that come out. So I certainly want to have them in the Poke Closet. I also buy 2 regular Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes, one for each of my kids to open because then we send the stamp promos into PSA because we're trying to build a PSA 10 collection of all those stamp promo cards. But this time I am going to hunt and see if I can't pre-order a great deal on a sealed booster box case. I just think there's enough here in Stellar Crown that even if there's great buying opportunities after it launches, I would just rather have one in the Poke Closet and just know that I have it and it's mine and I feel secure about it. Twilight Masquerade really gave me this realization that if I can find a great deal, I'll buy it ahead of time. If not, I'm in no rush. I mean, the window of opportunity for all of these Scarlet and Violet sets is huge. We haven't seen our first reprints or restocks yet. I think there's going to be plenty of time to buy them. So it will take a special deal for me to go ahead and pre-order it, but the reality is there's going to be lots of special deals out there. So I think I'll be adding one in. Now, before I get into the single cards and before I start the set comparisons and before we do what we always do and get way in the weeds on this channel, I just want to say that if you enjoy this type of content, hit that thumbs up button. I've got a small channel here and these little things go a long way in helping me out. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, I'd love it if you do. We have an amazing community. I'd love for you to be a part of it. And if you have questions or comments, drop them down below. I appreciate those things more than I can say, and I appreciate you watching. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into some of these things. And what I have done in the past and what I like doing is I do the video for the new sets really close after the Japanese ones launch, and I give them a couple days because I want that initial Pokemon pop and flop to flush out, but then I like to see how the Japanese cards have started off. So this page we're looking at the top 10 most expensive cards from Stellar Miracle, the Japanese equivalent of Stellar Crown, and on the next page we're going to look at the next 10, so we'll look at 11 to 20. So this isn't always 100% indicative of what's going to happen on the English side of things, which is what I collect, but it does give us some directional focus. And obviously over in Japan, trainers are a huge thing. Their pull rates are different, the texture is amazing, the quality is out of control. So you usually see trainers there at the very top, and there is no exception to that rule here. And actually this trainer lineup I think is really, really exciting. Twilight Masquerade had a really strong trainer lineup. There's 3 big ones in there that I really like. And these ones here, I love this Lacey, I love this Briar, and the Terrapagos card is the one that gives me a little bit of a pause. Now, Twilight Masquerade obviously had the Greninja card, which came out on absolute fire, and I think Greninja is a wildly popular Pokemon, even though I think it's Gen 6. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's a Gen 6 Pokemon. So it's got a little bit of an age to it, and you've got this Terrapagos card, right here, which is supposed to be the big non-trainer chase card, which is obviously a much newer Pokemon. So I don't know if that's going to be a one-for-one comparison. The other thing I'm interested about is beyond that. Now remember, there are some cards that you're not going to see on this slide, but you're going to see later on because we have some really cool cards on the English side that aren't included in the Japanese space. So remember, take this with a grain of salt because my 2 favorite cards we're going to talk about later in this video. But when you get beyond that, you get into Hydrapple was the next big one up there. You got the Doxbun down there. Then you get a gold card up here. Gold cards just haven't performed really well. So to see that in the top 10 right out of the gate. And then you got the Hydrapple card right there. Again, awesome artwork, but I don't think that's going to end up at the very top. So it's interesting once we get beyond those cards to kind of see where the rest of the set is going to end up. Is there going to be enough cards to give it a really strong middle 20 or top 20, which is going to help propel the booster box further down the road? We have done a ton of exhaustive research on this channel, and we know that the average of the top 20 cards is a great indicator of long-term price appreciation in the booster box set. It's just math. We've done the math. It's there. You can't deny it. So that's what I'm looking at when I'm looking at new sets like this. Now the next ones right here You got the Knocked Owl right there, and I X'd it out because that's going to come at us as a promo. But as you saw on the first slide, and as you see here, there is a new rainbow variant. Now, we all know in Sword and Shield, they did rainbow cards, and the rainbow was like completely overtook the whole card. It was basically the outline of the original card, and then they just smattered a rainbow kind of foilness all over it. These cards, I think, are a little more exciting, and I know because the market didn't have a whole lot of love for those first renditions of rainbow cards, but these ones I like a little bit more because you still maintain the colors. You still have their unique colors. It's not just rainbow left to right. You do have the rainbow border, and it's going to be foil, and I think it's going to be really awesome to look at. So I think the market is going to welcome these rainbow variants a lot more than they did from previous rainbow variants. But even then, when you look beyond that, again, I'm trying to see the totality of the top 20 singles cards. I mean, not a lot of huge cards here that I think are going to really pop off in price. Now, we will have to see. Twilight Masquerade proved that I don't know what the heck I'm talking about when it comes to how the markets are going to receive new cards. I thought Twilight Masquerade was good. I certainly didn't think it was going to be great. So maybe one of these cards is really going to surprise us. But at least for me, coming out of the gate, I don't see a Greninja type card coming out of here. However, what I do see is these cards right here. Now, this was a Deck EX set that came out in Japan, and I've been chomping at the bit because I think that Squirtle card is absolutely fire. And I've been like, oh my God, when are we going to get these cards? Well, guess what? Obviously, that Charmander card down there, that was the Black Star promo from Obsidian Flames, okay? So that was the one that was in the Elite Trainer boxes, and you had a Pokemon Center exclusive stamped variant that was in the Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs. But those other two cards, the ones on the left and the right, guess what? These, in my mind, are going to be the saviors of Stellar Miracle, and these are why I am so incredibly excited to take an oversized position in the set, because I think both of these cards are going to be really, really special. I just do. I think the Squirtle card right there has an amazing bit of art to it. The Bulbasaur right there, obviously, we're talking, you know, first partner Pokemons, right, from Gen 1. I mean, this checks all of the boxes, and we have seen the type of craze, the type of excitement that Gen 1 can drive. We see it time and time and time and time again. It just never gets old, and it's one of the things that I love about this hobby. And what I love is that we can still take Gen 1 Pokemon like this, and we can put such amazing art to it that somebody like me can still get incredibly excited to it to this day. And I think these are going to be the two cards that really separate it from some of the sets that we've seen up till now. Obviously, 151 is nothing but Gen 1 Pokemon, right? Obviously, 151 is what it is, but this is our first booster box supported set where we're going to see this type of lineup, and I'm very much excited to see how it's going to perform. Now, I promised you we were going to do a comparison to Twilight Masquerade and Stellar Crown, and now I have added in the Bulbasaur card, I've added in the Squirtle card. And this is kind of what the top 5 cards right now in Twilight Masquerade look like. Now, we know there's a very strong trainer lineup in Twilight Masquerade. That Carmine card, that Perrin, the Kieran down there. And then you get the Greninja, which is at a $250 price point right now. That is insanely high. And then you have the Eevee. So I'm always trying to compare and give myself some idea of how the new set might stack up to a similar set, which I consider Twilight Masquerade. So when you got the Terapagos card right there versus Greninja, in my mind, Greninja wins all day, hands down, twice on Sunday. That Greninja card, I think, is going to command a whole lot of value over the Terapagos card, right? Then you got the Carmine and the Perrin, right? You're comparing that to the Lacey and the Briar. And believe it or not, I think these cards stack up really, really well. That Lacey card, the special illustration rare, I think that is an adorable card. I always love it when you have multiple different trainers or Pokemon on a card. So I think these two cards stack up really well. So I'll call that a push between them. I think they're going to be very like for like in terms of comparison. And then when you get to the Eevee versus Bulbasaur versus the Squirtle card, I think it's going to be an interesting fight to the finish to see who wins here. Obviously, Eevee and all of the Eeveelutions have so much excitement, so much momentum. Like, all of them are just like touching gold right now. So it is hard to imagine the Squirtle or the Bulbasaur actually performing better. But if any cards can do it, I think they have the opportunity as well. And the thing that I also like here is we're going to see a whole lot of really strong character cards and not just trainer cards at the very top. You know, 3 of the top 5 in Twilight Masquerade as we sit right now are all trainer cards, and then you know there's a lot of Teal Mask Ogerpon and other cards there in Twilight Masquerade. So when I look at it in its totality, I think it's going to be really interesting. At worst, I think they stack up really well, and dependent on how the Bulbasaur and the Squirtle perform, listen, Stellar Crown might even get the nod here at the very end. So I don't know what's going to happen. I have absolutely no clue, but what I can say is this: Stellar Crown is an incredible set. It has an awesome card lineup. I am obviously very, very excited about it. I can't wait to take a strong strong position in it. And at worst, I think it's going to do just as good as Twilight Masquerade. And I think at best, it might even be, you know, one of the big sets that we see, at least in recent times. I do think that there are some real big sets that are coming up later on in Scarlet Violet. I don't think Stellar Crown is going to be the biggest set. I don't think Stellar Crown is going to be our Evolving Skies or Team Up equivalent. Not for all the money in the world would I put a bet on that, but I do think that it can be a very solid contributor to an overall, you know, investment portfolio here in the Scarlet Violet space. So with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed this analysis. I hope you're as excited as I am for Stellar Crown. If you like what you saw, give us a thumbs up. Questions or comments, drop them down below. And as always, I'd appreciate it if you want to join this community, if you hit that subscribe button. I can't thank you enough for watching. I appreciate you more than I can say, and you all have an epic one. Talk to you later, everybody. See ya.